So tonight we're going to touch on a topic that pretty much explains itself in the heading of this video, the title of this video. And if it doesn't ruffle your feathers as soon as you hear it, I'm probably not doing my job. And we've all heard the slogan, forget the wind, just hunt, or give the buck the wind and you'll be successful. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you, it's a path of destruction. So it's a path of destruction in a state that has the mature buck age structure is lower, and it's definitely a path of destruction if you're in a state that has higher mature buck age structures. We've all heard the slogan, we've all heard the term. Now let's talk about what it means to some and what it should mean to others. So tonight I've put a drawing on the board just to explain this and kind of shed some light on this, because as we all know, the power of advertisement out in the world right now is setting up a lot of people for destruction. And the more that this industry gains traction as far as advertisement, to me, there's a lot of things going on right now in the world as far as media that get some wires crossed. And to me, this is one topic that is that the media, if you will, has grabbed a hold of and is trying to push, and it has to end, because what happens is when you're trying to promote something like this and people in a high pressured state with lower mature buck age structures get wind of it, no pun intended, but they catch wind of it, they try to implement this stuff. And it's a path of destruction, and it always makes me wonder if folks that are brainstorming this stuff up don't care about the average bow hunter. And to me, that's very personal. So I'm going to try to explain this the best that I can tonight, guys. And as you can tell, I've got a lot of passion for this topic, because it's something that I see, I just shake my head at all the time, because it, like I said, it's a marketing media scheme. Myth, path of destruction, BS, whatever you want to label it. But tonight I'm going to try to explain to you how to not go down that road and how to stay clear of the slogan, just forget the wind and hunt. So on the board here, I've drawn out, and I'm going to put some screenshots and some video along the way here, explaining this a little bit better, maybe in some motion for you. But I've also drew this out on the board tonight, and we're going to chat here in reference. So I've set this up 80-40, however you want to divide it. It's a rectangular shaped property to make things easy and explainable. I put north to the south, to the top, south to the bottom. What I've got here, guys, is I've put just random bedding down, or a food plot down here to the south. And I've used my hub style design just to kind of show doe bedding. And we put some doe bedding here on the bottom and with the food plot. So we're going to label this food plot so everybody can make the determination here. And what around this, the dotted lines are the deer trails, or the travel patterns here of the deer or the mature buck trying to get back to buck bedding. So we're going to use this on an AM hunt in that last week of October, first week of November. But what we're going to talk about here is the strategy of people trying to get folks to understand that you can just, forget the wind and hunt. So what the term is, give the deer the wind, give the buck the wind. I'm going to explain this the best I can. I've got a creek running through the center here that kind of divides the farm, if you will. And obviously this is mature timber to the north, and some thick pockets around. That's where the buck bedding is. And then just to easily explain this, is I've got the food to the south. And like I said, all these dotted lines are travel corridors, or the buck paths back to in through transition areas and corridors getting back here to and from food. So what they're trying to explain to you guys is, or sell to you, is that you can come in, access into here, and you give the buck the wind as far as a northwest or a northwest or a direct north wind. You should be able to come in here and go all the way around here if you want to, go down this creek bottom. Everybody wants to walk a creek bottom because it's quiet and you don't get detected. There's truth to that if it's used properly. Come into here, use this creek bottom, get into here and put a stand right here so you can shoot both of these trails maybe, or one trail, two trails, three trails, whatever it is, because you don't have to worry about the wind. You just hunt, remember? So you walk in here. Let's just say that they're saying that you can access here off the road. You come in around the field, you come down in the dotted line we're gonna have here. You just come down and you're gonna come in here and you're gonna hunt, right? That's what they're selling you. This is the tree stand right here. So on this situation and on a morning hunt, what they're trying to tell you is this buck that's coming out of here, this mature buck that's coming out of the food plot or somewhere around, checking the doe. And maybe there's ag further to the south. He's spending his time, that's where he's at in the evening, and he's working his way back up to his bedding area that he had found. Okay, so he's using these transition areas. He's coming back up through here, and he's going to be either on one or the other of those trails. That's what they're trying to sell you. Either or, it's just random movement. And he's going to come back up here, and he's going to hit you have more of a better chance of killing him if you give him your wind, so he has the wind directly in his face the entire time that he's going back to bed, or it's a crosswind, but it's in his face. And that's the power of killing a mature buck, is because all this wind is going down right directly to him no matter what trail he's on. And so that way he feels more comfortable getting back to the bed. And if you're in here, you got a better chance. It doesn't matter which side of the trail that you're on, because if he takes either trail, because it doesn't matter, there's no information that shows what trail he's going to be on. So they say. We're going to talk here in about a minute. But he's just going to wander back up through here, and he's going to have the wind in his face, and you're going to be able to kill him, because you're giving him the wind and the buck feels more secure. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't work that way. So that's what they're trying to sell you. So they're trying to say that you get in there, you flip the machine on, you spray the magic potion on, poof, you're invisible, and you're not going to get winded, and you have no scent cones, and it doesn't matter. That's not how it works. It's the most detrimental thing in the outdoor industry right now, as far as the whitetail world. It's a sickness. It's I don't want to name any viruses that are going around right now, but if there was a virus that could sweep through the industry, the whitetail industry, we could probably name this after that. So back to the board here. This is what they're trying to sell you. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you that what you need to do is that is not going to work. So what you need to do is you need to take yourself out of that equation. You need to figure out a way here to get into that stand and be smart about your hunt, not believe in that strategy, not buy into that belief, and not believe that there's some machine or some potion that's going to save the day, right? So that's what they're trying to say. They're going, you get in here and you give the deer the wind, so that's always in their nose, so they feel more comfortable. And if you spray this stuff on you, like I said, you're not going to get winded. Well, there might be a chance that you don't get winded because there's a thermal that they're not thinking about. There's a ridge or a contour of the land that's taking it up, that's making that's tumbling the wind, or that's there's all kinds of different things that could play into that. The reason that they may have gotten away with that. And I'm not saying that there's no scent products out there that don't work, because obviously I promote no scent. We use it. It's a good aid, but it's not a cure-all. You have to be smart, right? And I truly believe that there's no machine out there that, I'm not going to name any names, but I truly believe that there's no machine. Maybe they help, but they're not a cure-all either, right? So what you have to do is you have to know going into this, especially on mature buck mentality. But if you're in an area, like I said, that is not, your top age structure is 2 and 3 years old, and if you can't get away with it, then you're definitely not going to get away with it at 4, 5, or 6 year old bucks. So this is the approach that you need to think of. If you're parking down here, and this is a cut bean field, the first thing that you should be thinking about is when you pull into this spot, is if it's a north wind and you know that the deer are coming from the food, going back through these travel corridors, and they're going back, he's going back to bed. Whether you've seen him, your trail cameras are picking him up, whatever the case is, he's going back to bed, you know he's there. So your first thing you need to pay attention to is this. If you're going to park here, you need to make sure that your headlights, first of all, don't shine from your parking spot, and you don't shine this whole area and into the food, and that's one of the things that I see happening. So you need to take that out of the equation. Make sure that you park along here in the ditch, or you pull up the road farther. In this situation, if you're going to hunt this in the morning, I'd be parking up here and not down here to begin with, and I'd be parking somewhere where your headlights are off to the north or the northeast if you can. Get permission from the neighbor to the east to shine the headlights that way, whatever the case is. And then if you're going to access on the north here, you have to be able to know that you're not going to do this on a northeast wind. You're not going to do this on a direct north wind. You've got to do this on a northwest or a west wind to come into this side of the farm to hunt, to keep the wind, to keep yourself out of the line of travel of the wind. So you have to be able to come in here, let's say, because this is cut bean field, and I'm a believer in that as well, whether you want to come into this at gray light or you want to just go across it. The chances of, that's what makes you got to make sure your food plots are powerful in the ag to the south, or what if there is any other food on here. You have to be able to get across this. So the beans are cut, low percentage chance that there's going to be any deer in there at all. And you can walk across here, park the truck, walk across the old cut beans if it's tilled over or whatever, get into here, and on a northwest wind, now you're walking down, this is all timber, keep in mind. So now you're walking down the edge of the timber. In the meantime, your wind is always blowing, northwest wind or west wind is always blowing your scent away from it, not into it, not down towards the buck, because you have a magical potion on. You're bringing this all the way down. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hunt this. Your stand location needs to be on the outside here, looking to the west in this situation. If you're right-handed, if you're a right-handed hunter, your stand should be facing right to the west, and your scrape should be down in here, or your shot should be off to the left. If you're a left-handed hunter, it should be just opposite, right? So that's the approach that you need to take. And then you're not cutting the line of travel. You're not getting inside of the two trails, if you will, and you're not getting surrounded. You're not getting in that trail trap. Is if the reason that buck is going to be on this side of the trail when he is coming back to bed is because it's a northwest wind. He's on this side of the creek because he's obviously scent checking all of this timber. He's scent checking all of this. Maybe this scrape that's here that you're hunting over, he's scent checking that as he comes up to it. He's getting all the information that he needs. By the time he gets there, he knows that area is already safe because the wind is telling him that. So he's going to be on this side of the trail. Now, if the wind was out of the northeast, then obviously that's why there's two trails there, because he's going to be on the other side of the creek. And if it's a northeast wind, you better hope that you're not in this stand location, because when he gets there to this scrape on this side, that's probably there right on the edge of the timber, or the edge, the thick edge going out into the mature timber. That's the side of the trail, the creek that he's going to be on a northeast wind, right? Right. So he's going up through here, going back to bed. If you're in the center and you're just hunting it on northwest, west, north, northeast, east, whatever wind it is, you're just going in there and hunting. That is just path of destruction. I think we've cured that by now, right? You're on the right track. You're on the right path with me here. So this is where you need to be on a northwest or a west wind. Now, if it's a north or a northeast wind, how do I hunt it? First of all, a north wind, you don't hunt it on a straight north wind in this situation on an AM hunt. You have to wait until you have that crosswind to get the wind in your favor so you can stay outside of the path of the line of travel. But the deer, the mature buck that's traveling from the food plot back up here to buck bedding, is using the wind, is having that side wind or that crosswind at the side of his face. And it doesn't have to be directly in his nose like everybody believes. It can be a crosswind. That's how they navigate the woods. If it was always in their face, they're directly in their nose, they would never go anywhere. They'd spend days upon days upon days in their bed. So they use the crosswinds. So you have to be on the outside of this right here, one stand location. You have to be on the outside of this right here, the other stand location. How do you hunt that on an east wind? Folks say, well, how do you hunt it on an east wind? How you hunt it on an east wind is in the morning. If you can't access it from the west into it or the southwest into it, then you don't hunt it. Period. You can't get in there. Where the biggest mistakes are being made right now is believing in these scent contraptions and scent potions that folks really believe that this marketing scheme that you can get in here. And folks, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. So the lesson learned here is to keep yourself outside of that travel corridor and don't get internal of it and think that you're taking advantage of both trail situations, or you're gaining more ground by getting internal, where you need to be on the outside. You need to find an edge down through here, that there's some kind of a structure, or this is mature timber and then this is where it gets thick in here. This is the reason that he's bedding in here, is because it's thick. And this edge is coming down through here. You need to be right on the edge of the just outside of the edge. So if he's traveling through it or just on the side of the outside of the edge, you are still on the outside of the wind current. You're not going to get busted while he's out here. He'd physically have to go, in this situation, he'd physically have to go out and around you, out into mature timber or out into an open field to get around you, and he's not going to. It's a huge step. It comes with a learning curve, and I know that it was kind of a direct approach here when I started this video, but that's how passionate I feel about this, and how much of a complete joke this is, by schemes and powders and scents and magic wands that are trying to be sold out there in the industry right now, when this is what you learn from years of experience, years of not only trying to be successful for yourself and hang deer on the wall, but also when you get paid to do this. And if you were to put a hunter in that location, which is trying to be sold now, back in the days when I was in the let's say the lodge management, guiding, lodge ownership, outfitting services, if I would have tried to put somebody in the center of that right there, it would have been a huge destruction, not only for the hunter himself, but years to come, with word of mouth, people sending us, bad referrals all over. Now, something has magically changed, that because of these products, you can get away with this stuff, and it's not the majority. So keep that in mind. If it's not the majority of what happens, don't take the chance of it being the norm. You have to take into consideration, where are they getting away with this? Are the majority of the videos, are the majority of the conversations, the testimonies, where are they coming from? Are they coming out of the Midwest, or are they coming out of a high pressured state? That's a huge, we've always talked about that on food plots and everything else, but this situation right here is one of those situations that is going to set a high pressured state hunter up for destruction, because people buy into this stuff. The best way to explain it, guys, is you have to give him the wind. You're giving him the wind as far as letting him manipulate the wind back to his bed. But you're not giving him your wind. And I think that's where the big disconnect here is, with the misunderstanding, is there's two ways to interpret that. One is give him the wind. That means, you give him your scent, so he's in charge. Why in the world would you ever do that, right? And so, but I think that's where this whole scheme has came from, is you have to understand that when people started talking about giving the whitetail buck the wind years ago, and really perfecting this movement, or perfecting this move in the whitetail world, the hunting world, is it wasn't meant to be give him your wind. It was meant to give him his wind, to let him feel comfortable navigating through his wind currents in his backyard, and then you have to still stay out of it. So there's a huge disconnect there. I hope this explains it. It's something that is extremely, extremely out of control, and it needs to stop. Thanks, guys.